Good morning. I wanted to tell you guys about Babylon today for B. So our second day of our countdown is going to be B for Babylon. And this is an image, an artist rendering of the gates of Babylon, or the Ishtar Gate, which is one of the main ways that you would have gotten into the city. This is one of the great ancient cities of the Middle East. It is located in the Euphrates, in the Tigris and Euphrates river valleys, which is Mesopotamia. You can see in the back here we have a ziggurat. And what we're going to do is kind of just talk about a few things that are important about Babylon. So, one of the major things is that Babylon had a guy named Hammurabi, and Hammurabi, in Hammurabi's code, was one of the world's first code of laws. It consisted of 282 laws, and they were posted on these large kind of like steles around, which was like a stone column with the text of the laws and this image throughout his kind of like kingdom wherever he ruled. And what was really important about this code was it was one of the first times that we've found in history that a leader kind of like made a law code that applied to everybody, and that was posted and very clearly posted as kind of like a set of rules. So when did this happen? This happened in 1790 BCE, so that's almost 4,000 years ago. It was in Mesopotamia, which is in present-day Iraq. If you look, Babylon is right here. This is the Euphrates River. This is the Tigris River, and they flow into the Gulf here. And this part of the world is where a lot of our kind of like the Fertile Crescent, it's where a lot of our kind of earliest civilization started, was in the Middle East in the Fertile Crescent. One of the great things about Hammurabi, one of the things he wrote in the actual prologue to the Hammurabi's code was, so he wrote these laws so that the strong might not injure the weak. So it's one of the first examples we have going way back where we're having a leader talk about how to kind of like make things a little more equal and have more justice than maybe what was typical. So the powerful here are being in some way controlled in terms of how much they can do to the people who are not as powerful. And well, another quote, the first duty of government is to protect the powerless from the powerful. So it shows you kind of like what it was like. Even today it's like this, but what it was like back then, and you have a pretty advanced thinker, or at least progressive thinker, to be pushing these ideas that early on. Now, some fun facts about Babylon beyond Hammurabi's code. You had the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, which were one of the seven wonders of the ancient world. So this kind of like was a important kind of like structure and site that was kind of talked about a lot in ancient writing. So we don't have evidence of it anymore. It no longer exists. But one possibility is that this was part of the ziggurat structure, which is like that stacked pyramid that you saw in the first image. Another fun fact, ancient Babylonians did math in base 60 instead of base 10. So where we do everything by 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, million, and we go up by basically multiples of 10. In Hammurabi's time in Babylon, they went up by multiples of 60, and this kind of like leads to our kind of 60 seconds in an hour, 60 minutes in or 60 seconds in a minute, 60 seconds in an hour, and it also kind of leads to what we have with our 360 degrees in a circle. So they kind of used 60 as their starting point, as their base point. And I think that's it for Babylon. So I will do that. Also be posting a link, but you can do your Jamboard using this information. I'll go back to the beginning. I love this image of the Ishtar Gate and of Babylon. If you see back here, you can see the ziggurat. Okay.